Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3344. It's been almost like a night at today's date is the 27th of February 2025. It's been almost like a night at 9:53 p.m. Okay, so what exactly happened today? Nothing really. It's been really usual day. Nothing really at all. I did my design. Okay, yes. Like usually, I decided that I should supposed to be complete two graphics design. I did it. Yes. The reel is remaining. Uh, After the artifact, it will be gonna done. And then nothing really at all. I went with my mother to a dentist. Okay, and yeah, pretty normal, pretty casual day. Nothing really at all. All right. So we directly jump into the question. All right. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Okay. Okay. So question is, can the act of creation reveal the inside about creator? Okay. Yeah. That is a really good question. Okay. Yeah. Okay. First of all, where is this question came from? Okay. So a couple of days ago, I was actually watching this Demons of Leonardo. Okay, like by the way, like I'm actually every artifact I'm actually talking about this thing and where is this kind of like a simply. Okay, like I'm just get straight into the point. Okay, yeah, like where is this question came from? So I wanted to think like Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, yeah. So I just went to the ChatGPT and asked that ki suggest me such a question so that I would think like Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, so this is one of those questions. Okay, the question says, can the act of creation reveal insight about creator? Like, what exactly does this mean? It means like that ki, uh, um, okay, yeah. I'm gonna tell you regarding about example that you might gonna understand. All right, yeah. Uh, I am kind of like a something like YouTuber. Should I say YouTuber? Okay, like basically, I have almost like a 1,400 something subscriber in Instagram. I have almost like a 10,000 followers in Instagram platform. Okay, and I usually upload graphics content. Okay, like I create the graphic design and I uploaded that graphic design on social media platform. Okay. So basically is this thing, I should supposed to be called myself as a creator, yeah, because yeah, I am kind of like a create something. All right, yeah. So should I say I'm kind of like an influencer or creator? Probably. Okay, yeah, probably. I'm not really earning any money by the way, but yeah, probably I should call myself that I am kind of like a something a creator because I'm create something kind of like a something create something that is not exist in the real world. Okay, it's not exist. Okay, yeah. So that is called kind of like a somebody creator. Okay, yeah. Now I'm gonna give you another example. It's not it's just kind of like a something I'm just trying to telling you about myself. Okay, yeah. Okay. So have you watched kind of like a something YouTuber named MKBHD? Okay, yeah, like a Marcus Brownie, kind of like a something name, but most of the people are kind of like a something known as a MKBHD. He's a tech YouTuber. Okay, yeah, and he actually kind of like a something upload a video regarding about review about tech product like mobiles or gadgets or stuff like that. Okay, yeah, and he was actually telling this. He was actually sharing those experience. Okay, he is actually doing this thing for almost like a 15 year and probably you might knew it. Okay, yeah, because in the world he is a kind of like assembly one of the greatest tech YouTuber. All right, yeah, MKBHD, like kind of like assembly, kind of like a brown guy with something that, okay, yeah, you probably knew it. Okay, like if I'm gonna see you kind of like a something just image, yeah, I see that particular guy, so yeah, this kind of like a guy. So he is a kind of like a something YouTuber. Okay, yeah, tech YouTuber. And the way that he was actually making his video is kind of like a some essence of it. Okay, yeah. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key, like if he make a particular video, okay, yeah, and he uploaded that video in kind of like a simply a very random channel, still I could recognize that this video belongs to this character, this creator. Okay, why? Because that creator is kind of like a creating such a method that probably no one could copy that thing. Okay, um still not understand? Okay, I'm gonna tell you another example. Okay, so like basically is this thing, handwriting. Okay, yeah, like yeah, the way that you write some sort of thing, okay, your handwriting, in the entire world no one could write the exactly things that you write. What do you mean by that? Okay, yeah, like basically this thing na ki, as our human body we are kind of like a something, have something very, very different thing. Okay, yeah, our thought process, like every person is kind of like a thinking very differently. Okay, yeah, and that thought process are kind of like a something, um, execute or reveal on its our action. Okay, yeah. What kind of like action? Action means like that, take a handwriting. Okay, yeah. So like basically there are almost like a 7 to 8 billions of people. Okay, yeah. The way that you write, whatever the language that you write, okay, yeah, English, take a English. Okay, yeah, the way that you write the English, no one could write the English like you. Yeah, literally no one could write. Okay, might be like you found something that equivalent to kind of like a something, but not precisely. Because let me tell you one thing, na, when we write something, we not only just kind of like a write the word, we also kind of like a put the pressure on the pen on the paper, and where it kind of like a something, we could find the writing pattern. Okay, where you kind of like a put the pressure on the point, and where it is, which is kind of like a something so extreme rare that no one could kind of like a copy. Okay, so that's why in the bank signature, like that's why in the bank they are actually giving you signature, because no one could copy the signature. But you might gonna say that ki, I know there are so many people who are kind of like a copy the signature. Okay, yeah, so how does they do that? Okay, yeah, they practice. Okay, they practice, but still they won't be able to kind of like a something, achieve 100% accuracy. What do you mean by that? Okay, okay, so I'm gonna tell you my father's signature. My father's signature is really amazing. Okay, the way that his signature was like a really incredible. Okay, so when his signature, he put some sort of pressure on some sort of letter. Okay, yeah, like my father initial is that ki Hiraman Authare. My father name is Hiraman Authare. So basically is this thing, my father didn't really write the AWATHARE. No, they write Authare in Marathi words. Okay, yeah, but H, like a they H and D, like my father initial is a Hiraman Dadaji Avtare. Dadaji is my grandfather name. So basically is this thing, how does he kind of like initial is that H dot D, then Avtare in Marathi word. Okay, yeah, but the way that it writes, it kind of like a something very different. It means it different means like that na ki, like basically when he write the initial, they put kind of like a strong impact, or kind of like a put the kind of like a something, uh, like a pen and pressure is put lot of effort on H, initial letter H. Okay, yeah, then it connect with the D for Dadaji. Okay, yeah, and then it kind of like a simply convert into Avthare is something really in Marathi word. Okay, yeah, but way that they write that initial, that signature was so amazing, that kind of like something really good. My father's signature is, yeah, my signature is really pathetic. Okay, yeah, but my father's signature was like really amazing. Okay, yeah, so so what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, if I wanted to copy my father's signature, I have to copy the visual thing. What's the visual thing? A visual thing means like that ki what is exactly the kind of like a something signature. Okay, yeah. Like what is actually signature? Like my father is kind of like a doing as a author means in Marathi. Okay, yeah. So basically I'm trying to copy the signature as visually, but I would not that exactly 100% right. Why? Because it's not my signature. And as also is this thing, I didn't really know where should I put the pressure point, because in visual signature I won't be able to see any kind of like assembly a pressure point in the signature thing. Okay, yeah. So, like the whole thing that I wanted to tell you is this thing that his signature is a kind of like a something very hard to copy. Some people are copy is because of the visual thing, and we could see very clearly that those are little bit of fake somehow. Okay, yeah, because the pressure point is a kind of like a something missing. Okay, yeah. But the person who kind of like make the signature, and he did another signature which is somewhat kind of like a something different, but we understand that it's the same signature, the same guy is actually doing the signature, because the pressure point. Okay, yeah, the way that pressure point is actually impact on the initial or any kind of like a something bottom of letter or top of the letter or kind of like a round or whatever it is, it kind of like shows us that it's his signature. Okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a something difference between them. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki every person has handwriting is exactly kind of like a something rare, that almost like a 90% that no one could write, 90 to 95% no one could write the language that you write. Okay, yeah. And this is why is because of that कि it's kind of like a we influence as a human, we actually influence our thoughts through our action. Okay, in handwriting. Okay, yeah. But it's just like that na कि something is very different. Okay, yeah, like it just a kind of like a something a signature, just a handwriting. Okay, yeah. But what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, their work is kind of like a something very different. Example, basically is this thing कि couple of weeks ago or couple of days ago, I'm not really sure, I was actually kind of like a reading the Harry Potter book, which is actually wrote by the J.K. Rowling. Okay, yeah. So let me tell you one thing. I watch the Harry Potter movie. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the part that I watch. Okay, yes. And then I started reading this J.K. Rowling Harry Potter. Okay, yeah. Why? Because of that ki in the book they actually kind of like a something telling the story in very detail. In the movie they actually skip lot of details, but in the book they actually mention lot of details. So I wanted to read that particular book. Okay, yeah. Now I wanted to read that book, but I won't be able to read that book. What do you mean by that? Won't be able to? Like basically, that book is in English, definitely, yes. Okay, let me tell you one thing now. I haven't really bought the book. Okay, like I download the PDF of the Harry Potter book. Okay, yeah, like basically it's a kind of like a something illegal, but it's just like that. I went to the torrent and I find out that the Harry Potter PDF book is actually available. So I just download that PDF. Okay, yeah, and I was actually reading the PDF. Okay, I didn't really bought the book. All right, yeah. So yeah, get the point. Point is that key, yeah, the entire book is in English. Okay, yeah. But when I try to read that particular language, I don't really understand that. Why? Because of that thing, it's somewhat kind of like a feel little bit of foreign language. But I do understand English language. The book is in English language. Then why it kind of like a feel little foreign language? Is because of that the person who wrote that particular language, he wrote that particular language from his point of perspective, from his point of influence. What do you mean by that? Okay, yeah. J.K. Rowling, he is a particular person who is actually from England, Britain. Okay, yeah, he is from London. Okay, yeah. And the way that he write the book, the way that he write the text A B C D E F G H or whatever, it kind of like a simply represent the Britishness. It represents some sort of kind of like a simply, yeah, British. What's a Britishness? A Britishness means like that na ki, like it kind of like a represent their surrounding from his writing. Okay, yeah. The way that J.K. Rowling write about some sort of stuff or some sort of jokes or some sort of things, which is more relevant to the people who actually live in London or kind of like a Britain. Okay, yeah, I am from India. I won't be able to understand their joke. I won't be able to understand their frame of reference, phrase of reference, whatever it is. Okay, yeah. So it's kind of like a, something very hard to read that particular book. Okay, yeah. Same thing happened with me to them as also. Is this thing that ki if I write some sort of book, okay, yeah, or maybe like this artifact, okay, the people who are actually listening this artifact, they might be resonate with my surrounding situation, is because of that ki those people are kind of like a something from India, because my situation and them situation is somewhat equivalent. But if you are the person who is actually like listening this artifact in the YouTube platform in US or Europe or whatever it is, you kind of like a feel little bit of different regarding about listening my language, my accent, the way that I thought and way that I'm getting some sort of experience. It's somewhat very different. What do you mean by that? Okay, what exactly is this thing? Okay, if you still not understand, okay, yeah, um let's say English, okay, the language, the accent, okay, yeah, my accent is somewhat little bit of Indian English. Okay, what's the Indian English? Indian English is a kind of like a simply pure form of English, means like that the word that we speak is kind of like a simply exact representation of that particular word. Okay, yeah. The people who actually live in US or Europe, their accent is literally somewhat different. Like let's say uh, US people who actually talk like, yeah, my name is Michael Shadish. I was kind of like an engineer and I'm doing something like that. I'm not really good at accent, but it's just like that. Now you kind of like a somebody familiarize with the different accent tone. Okay, yeah. Same thing happened with if you went to the Russia, their English is a kind of like a very different. They kind of like a talk very different. Okay, yeah. You just listen that thing and you realize that ki, ha. Okay, yeah. It's not only kind of like something different in our accent, which is actually different in our names. Okay, right now my name is Saurabh Bauthare. Okay, yeah. If I went to kind of like a something China, then my name is Xi Jinping. Okay, yeah. Xi Jinping. They have kind of like a something very three names. Okay, yeah, like a Hung Shao, Xiaomin, Peng Go. I don't know. It's a very different. Okay, if you went to Russia, they have kind of like a very different name, like Putin. What's the name is guy? Like I don't know. Like basically this is the Russian name is kind of like a something very like like I don't know, yaar. Okay, yeah. It's a very kind of like a something very accent is literally different. Okay, if you are kind of like a something like guy who is actually from Middle East, and his name might be kind of like a something Muhammad Khalalulji. I don't know. I am not really familiar with the word, but still, that they represent some of their culture and their things. You might not get some certain particular guy who is actually like a Alauddin Khilji is actually from Russia. It's kind of like a, something hard to believe. Yeah, but it's just like Alauddin Khilji from Pakistan. Then you might resonate that thing, ki, ha, like this guy is true. Okay, yeah, this is what kind of like a somebody is this thing. Okay, yeah, every person has its own different thing. Okay, yeah, not only just a kind of like accent, but our city names too. Okay, yeah, like let me tell you one thing. Indian city name like a Delhi, Mumbai, then Kolkata, Chennai. Okay, yes, these are kind of like a some city name. Okay, now you went to kind of like Russia, their city name is a Moscow or St. Petersburg. Okay, yeah, somewhat something very different. Okay, yeah, like basically, let's say capital city of our is a New Delhi. Their capital city is a Moscow, which is representation of Russia. Somewhat like a just understand the phrase of it. Okay, yeah. Now Washington DC is represent some sort of you. I don't know. It's like that. Okay, like something that ki Jerusalem. Okay, yeah, how this kind of like assembly word represent to you, like where is this kind of like assembly is this thing, like just try to connect that word with the kind of like their culture and things, and our mind is try to connect that particular word even if we don't really know what is exactly Jerusalem and where is this thing. but it's just like that na, the information around you is kind of like a simply associate that word with some certain thing that we might not write, but we might suggest, or our brain is kind of like a suggesting this thing that ki Jerusalem, this kind of like a some city might be somewhere in Africa or Middle East maybe. Okay, yeah, but it's just like that ki that word, that Jerusalem might not be in the China. Yeah, why? Because it's not right. Okay, yeah. So our brain is a kind of like a simply connecting dots, and it kind of like a simply equivalent amount of stuff that might not perfectly, but might write. Okay, yeah. Like basically, if I'm gonna say Peru, okay, so like a Peru is a kind of like a something city. So where is the city, or where is this kind of like a something a city, or where it came from? It might be from China. No, not China. South Korea? No, not South Korea. India? No, not. Then where is this kind of like a city from? Might be something Argentina or somewhere, might be. Okay, yeah. I'm not really sure is this kind of like a some country or city name, but still my brain is trying to connect that word with that particular somewhat location. Okay, yeah, that I might knew it. Okay, yeah. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing, our entire existence of human things have kind of like a something different, means like that our action is kind of like a something very different than each other. The way that we handwriting, the way that we talk, the way that we kind of like a something have our names, the way that our city names is kind of like a something representing their culture, their language, their position on the earth. It's yeah. Okay, yeah, do you get it? So each person has this kind of like a something resonate different kind of like a something something really information, which is kind of like a something equal but different, means like that ki if everyone is actually speaking English, but each person when speak English, we understand that this person might be from Middle East, this person might be from Malaysia, or where it is. Okay, yeah, we just try to understand that stuff. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, every person has its own thought process, own thinking, own, the way that they speak is a kind of like a something very, very different thing. Very different thing. Okay, yeah. Till now you understand that? Okay, that is good. Okay. Now I was actually talking about MKBHD. Okay, still MKBHD is a kind of like a something YouTuber who, so most of people don't really understand or don't really knew it. Okay, so I skipped the MKBHD and I tell you another creator, Mr. Beast. Okay, yeah, probably you definitely knew Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is a YouTuber, one of the biggest YouTuber in the world. He who has almost like a 350 millions of followers and subscribers. He was like a really big person, and probably he was world famous in all around the country. Yes. Okay, so probably you knew it. Okay, yeah. So just try to imagine what would be the next video of Mr. Beast. I'm not really sure the topic, but I might sure about the video technique, the way that Mr. Beast video start. It start from grand opening. It start from grand opening. And he says that ki like you have almost like a $1 million. If you do this thing, you will get $1 million. And within a 30-second, things started very fast. Like everything is actually happened fast, big text, and everything is actually giving you very fast, rapid. So basically is this thing, Mr. Beast has a kind of like a some sort of a different thing, a style of creating his content. It's somewhat something very different than MKBHD. MKBHD content creation doesn't really start with a very big word. No, it started from kind of like a some talking head video. Okay, yeah. And each person, each creator is kind of like a resonate their kind of like a something creativity from its action. Okay, yeah. Okay, so each creator is actually different from each other. Okay, do you get it? Okay, so now we were actually talking about such stuff regarding about just like a creation and stuff like that. Okay, now let's come back to the question. Question says that, can the act of the creation reveal the inside about the creator? Definitely, yeah. if like a basically is this thing, if the Mr. Beast video make a video and upload it on random channel, you still recognize that this video is actually somewhat associated with the Mr. Beast. Okay, yeah, because the kind of like a simply the way that the Mr. Beast make a video, we might understand that this is kind of like a some Mr. Beast video. Okay, yeah. So we just try to get insight from our creativity and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So can the act of the creation reveal the insight about the creator? Yes, definitely. Now I'm gonna ask a big question. Okay, yeah. So the world that you are actually seeing, okay, yeah, not the world that we created, the world is nature created. Okay, yeah, means like that universe, the stars, the planet, the nature, the plants and the human body and the, yeah. So this is kind of like a some the creation of someone, right? Like there might be kind of like a some sort of kind of like a something universe who is actually creating this kind of like a stuff. Okay, yeah. So have we get kind of like a some insight about that a creator of our, okay, I'm talking about God. Okay, yeah. So basically he was actually creating this thing. So can we get some sort of insight about the creator of our? Okay, yeah. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna ask question to myself that ki, do you believe that he such person or such kind of like a something like entity is exist? Okay, yeah, like a, is there any kind of like a something or some certain thing is kind of like a something exists so that it kind of like a creating this the world and universe that we seeing is someone is actually creating or not? Or like a, do you believe that is there is someone who is actually creating this thing? Um, okay, yeah. I know there is someone who is actually creating, but uh, it's not someone, or it's not kind of like a thing that you are kind of like imagine. Means like that a Zeus, a god, or kind of like a human like god. No, not. Probably is this thing that we found a kind of like a something evidence of the creator. We, it's not a kind of like a something human like person, no, it's a particle. We call them is a Higgs boson particle or a god particle. Okay, yeah, if you don't really knew about it, you just google it, you found out the Higgs boson particle or god particle. Just search about the god particle. Okay, yeah. So what is actually the god particle? Okay, yeah. So God particle, that why we are actually mentioned the God particle, because this is the kind of like a something a particle, means like that a very very tiny, equivalent to the size of atom, which is kind of like a something responsible for all those things that we seen, means like that entire universe, plants, stars, planets, nature, plants, trees, human body, every species on this planet, every species on the universe is actually created by this God's particle, Higgs boson particle. Okay, yeah. How this thing is actually happened? Like, like, yeah. Okay. So let me tell you one thing, na. Ki particle is actually creating just, okay, yeah, just kind of like it's not creating from the bottom. No, it's not. Okay, it's a like I think I'm trying to understand the creator of our, but I am not able to. Okay, yeah, because I think that I didn't really have that much power or performance or any kind of like a thought process so that I would try to imagine our creator. Why? Because it's such a complex thing, because it's a lot of thing, dude. It's a lot of thing. Like take an example of our human body. Yeah, the human body is such a complex design that probably humans won't be able to create such a robot which is equivalent to kind of like some human body. Okay, yeah. Why? Because just, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna give you kind of like a something simple example. Look at your hand. Okay, the way that your hand can do, we won't be able to create such a kind of like a some mechanism who's kind of like a equivalent to your hand, nothing really at all, because your hand can hold the object, release the object. Um, it's the things that hand could do, no any robotics arm could do the such thing. Okay, yeah. And I'm talking about just a hand. There is entire kind of like a some body, our human body is a kind of like a filled with such a stuff that probably really required a so much amount of information of data to create kind of like a simply robot which is equivalent to kind of like a simply human body, which is like a very difficult to do that thing. Okay, yeah. Let's take an example. Okay, yeah. um we have a gyroscope. What's a gyroscope? A gyroscope is a kind of like a something sensor who kind of like a something really understand the moment of inertia. What's the moment of inertia? Okay, yeah. So have you tried to kind of like a lift the have you tried to kind of like a something hold the stick at your palm and try to balance it? Okay, yeah. Like you done this thing. It's a kind of like a something very simple thing that you did it when you were child. Okay, yeah. So while you are doing this thing, what should you supposed to do is that you are kind of like a simply holding that stick on your palm of your hand and try to maintain that stick vertical as much time as you want. Okay, it's very hard, but you just have to find the perfect balance to regarding about the weight and height and everything. Then you balance that particular stick at palm of your hand for at least couple of seconds maybe. Okay, yeah. So you are kind of like finding that particular weight and things like that. That is called exactly a gyroscope is actually happen. Gyroscope is a kind of like a simply a sensor that we created. It's kind of like a always understand the weight of the object, and as also how should we supposed to lift that object at the kind of like a something vertical as much as possible. Okay, yeah. Like let me tell you one thing now. uh we have a gyroscope. Because of gyroscope we are kind of like a walking on two leg. Okay, we are the only species who are kind of like a do the such thing, because no one species could do that thing. Yeah, kangaroo could do that thing. Yeah, kangaroo are kind of like a simply a animal who kind of like a simply walking on two leg. Okay, yeah. But it's a kind of like a simply very different thing. Okay, yeah. Kangaroo is not yeah, kangaroo is okay, yeah. But what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. Every species has its own kind of like a stuff. I'm talking about the human body. Okay, yeah. So human body have a kind of like a simply gyroscope which is so strong, such a thing that even if we start falling, we are try to maintain our body to kind of like a something I don't know, just try to bend your body. Okay, yeah. You still kind of like a somethingly hold, somethingly kind of like a somethingly stand. Example, okay, yeah. What should you supposed to do? Just stand and just kind of like a small bend. Okay, yeah. When you bend, your entire weight of your body is a kind of like a something at this, so you might have to fall, but you don't really fall. Your leg is a kind of like a simply protecting yourself. Why this thing is actually happened, even if kind of like a simply have one weight at one section of the body, still we won't be able to fall, is because of that we have such a strong gyroscope mechanism inside that we won't be able to fall that much. Yeah, we really require some sort of external force to fall. We definitely fall, yes, but it's just like that now our gyroscope is always kind of like a something maintaining his body all the time, all the time. Even if we get the sleep, still we have kind of like a somebody that gyroscope is on. Okay, yeah. Now try to compare that gyroscope with your mobile phone. Okay, yeah. Your mobile phone, it's also have a gyroscope, but it doesn't really work that well. Okay, and probably the gyroscope in your mobile phone have, which is kind of like a some latest technology, but still that gyroscope is won't be able to kind of like a something balancing its own body. And I'm talking about the mobile phone which doesn't really have any legs and hand and nothing really, it's a flat body, but still that gyroscope didn't really work that well properly. Okay, somewhat is actually giving some sort of error or something like that. Or example is this thing that when you are started recording video vertically and then you suddenly start shifted while recording, you are kind of like a somebody switch your camera from vertical to landscape. That video is actually recording at vertical, but it actually show you landscape. It's a kind of like a somebody is this thing that the gyroscope don't really understand that the camera that you are actually recording is a vertical or a landscape. It always record the video from landscape or always record the video from vertical. When you start the recording, it kind of like a hold that position, and even if whatever the camera that you change, it's kind of like a recording this thing, and whole video kind of like a something mess. Okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a some error is actually happened. Okay, yeah. Yeah, our engineer is kind of like a solving such a problem again and again, but still is this thing that human invention is actually far, 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 far behind than nature's invention. Okay, yeah. Just did I eat bug? I think I ate bug. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. I ate bug. Shit. Okay, sorry, I just have to end here. This is it, this is then. And you probably understand. It's not really hard to understand. Okay, I ate bug. Oh, it tastes so bad. Thank you.